YouTube, welcome back to Cassandra's Kitchen, where I eat to live and not live to eat. Today I'm going to be making another dessert, holiday dish number 11, and it's going to be a sweet potato pie. So you can't go through the holidays without having a nice sweet potato pie with a little whipped cream on top of that. So if you're interested in seeing how I make my sweet potato pie, stay tuned and I'll show you. Alright guys, so what we're going to need to make our sweet potato pie, we're going to need 3 large sweet potatoes. I have some nice large organic sweet potatoes here. I got 2 large and 2 not so large, so I got 4 potatoes all together. We're going to need, of course, either a pie crust that you've already store-bought, or you're going to need your dough and a 9-inch pan. So I have some dough that I had in the freezer, and I do have a recipe how I make my dough, and I'll put that in my description as well. That's from my apple pie. I did the dough on that video, so I'll link this in the description as well so you can see how I make my dough. We're going to need a little pinch of salt. We're going to need some sugar. I'm using monk sugar. Won't need that one. We're going to need some pure vanilla. We're going to need some cinnamon, some nutmeg, some allspice, a stick of butter, and we're going to need some buttermilk. So vegans, you guys know you can make your own buttermilk. You can use lemon juice or apple cider vinegar and a plant-based milk. So I'm using almond milk and I'm using apple cider vinegar, and it's 1 cup to 1 tablespoon. So 1 tablespoon of either your lemon juice of apple cider vinegar to 1 cup of your plant-based milk. And you let that sit for 10 minutes and you have buttermilk. So I think my recipe only calls for a 1/2 cup of milk, of buttermilk. So we're going to be using a 1/2 cup and 1/2 tablespoon. So what I'm going to go ahead and do while you grab your ingredients and get those ready, I'm going to go ahead and wash my sweet potatoes, get them on and let them boil so they can be ready. It'll probably take them about 30 minutes or so to boil. Once I get my potatoes prepared, I'll come back here and show you what to use. Oh, one other thing that I did miss that we're going to need is your egg. So you can use either the flax egg or you can use the just egg. Today I'm going to be using the just egg because I have that, and I'm going to be using the just egg for this recipe. So get your ingredients, come back, and we'll start whipping this sweet potato pie. All right, guys, so we are back. We have our potatoes done. They have cooked. They are cooled down slightly, not completely, but they're cooled down enough where I can handle them. So you guys can see this. It's easier when you just bake your potato or boil your potato in the jacket, because then the skin just peels right off of them. So that's all we want to do. Let's get that tough layer off. I like the mushy inside anyway, so once we get all that peeled up off of there, like I said, you want to do this when they're kind of cool so you can handle them, because they do get hot. Okay, and just pick out any little pieces there. So that's one, and we're just gonna get that down in our mixer, and we're gonna do the rest of these. Okay. Okay. See how easy that is? Some people go through the process of peeling them. I'm like, man, that just saved me some time. I only peel when I'm making my sweet potatoes, my candied yams or candied sweet potatoes. I peel, but for this, just boil these babies and pull that skin right off of them. Now this one's a little hot. This one still got a little heat on it. See the little pieces that's down in there, you know, the little cores down in there. Just pick those out. We don't want those in our pie. A couple of those. Okay. And if there's any of the real stringy as you mix it, you can just pull it off. But for the most part, hopefully it should mix very well. And I'm apologizing in advance if y'all hear baby crying in the background. My grandson is upset for some reason. I hear him upstairs whining. So, okay. So that's that. Let me rinse my hands. Okay. And then what we want to do, I'm going to just go ahead and give this a little mix in my mixer just to kind of mix it in just a little bit. Get those kind of going. Broken up there. Okay. And then now we're going to start putting in our ingredients. So we want to make sure we have a stick of melted butter. Stick of your plant-based melted butter here. And we want to get the no salt. And then we're going to add in our spices. And so the first spice that gets to go into the pot is our allspice. I'm trying to find my measuring. It's a half a teaspoon of allspice. Then it gets a half a teaspoon of your grounded nutmeg. I love this stuff. It smells so good too. Then it also gets a half a teaspoon of some cinnamon. And then we get a teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. Okay. Get my lid on there. And then we just get a little pinch of salt, just a pinch. That was my oven going off. So your oven, my oven is set at 375. And then it gets 2 eggs. So I'm going to go ahead and mix this in a little bit to get this going in there. And so again, I'm using just eggs. And the just eggs, you use 1/4 cup for 1 egg. And so this recipe calls for 2 eggs. We want to make sure this gets whipped really good, but I start off kind of slow because I don't want to slap everything around. I want to make sure all my ingredients gets down in my bowl and not all over my countertop, because y'all know I can be a bit messy sometimes. My daughter teases me all the time. I make a mess. She's like, well, you know it's Cassandra's kitchen. I'm like, leave me alone. So, just kind of get that mixed in there real good. So I'm going to go ahead and get my eggs in here. And so I would normally mix 1 egg at a time if I was using regular eggs. I'm going to pour in the 1 cup of just egg. Let that go. And I'm going to prepare my second egg. That's 2/4 cups. Okay, get that one down in here. And again, I want to get all that off my sides and stuff, because get that mixed down in here real good. So I love my little spatulas, because that way I can get all those ingredients in the bowl. So now I'm going to bring it up just a little bit. And then we have one final ingredient to go in here, and that's our buttermilk. So I'm going to pour in my buttermilk. And this was the milk that I had set aside with the apple cider vinegar. So it's been in the refrigerator. It's done curdled a little bit, which is great, because that's what we want, that buttery, like buttermilk. And that's a 1/2 cup of buttermilk. And if you're not vegan and you like this channel, you can make this, because this is just inspired from my regular sweet potato pie. And all I did was try to veganize it by adding non-dairy and ingredients. So I'm going to give this another good whirl, but I want to get this off the sides of my bowl again. And you don't have an electric mixer, you can definitely do this by hand. Because before there was mixers, there were strong arms. I'm going to turn it up too high because it will splatter. And so what I went ahead and done also, I went ahead and I got my pie dish prepared. And so I've just put my already made pie dough in my glass dish. Again, I had this in my freezer from when I made an apple pie a while back, and so I didn't have to make any dough today. But again, I will put this recipe, I will put this inside of my description so you can have the steps to making the actual pie crust if you don't know how to do that, or if you don't want to buy a pie crust, you can make your own. It's real simple and easy, and it actually turns out to be really good, real buttery and delicious. So that's that. Oh, and now I said I had one final ingredient, but I actually had two final ingredients before I move on. Got my sugar here that I haven't put in the bag. Don't want a pie without sugar. Okay, so we need 1.5 cups of sugar. And I am using monk sugar. So about 1.5 cups there. And you can sweeten to your own liking, of course. If you need a little more, put in a little more. If you need a little less, put in a little less. Okay. I would have tasted it and been like, wait a minute. Where's my sweetener at? Yeah. All right. Sometimes when I'm on camera, I get to talking and I get a little sidetracked. Now, all we're going to do is just make sure this is nice and creamy. But this is going to bake in the oven until the center sets. So about 45 minutes or so, depending on your oven. But about 35 to 40 minutes. Wipe my hands here. About 35 to 40 minutes, just to give time for that to set. That's all we need. And we're going to have a nice pie. And I got some whipped cream to go on top. So let me stop this for a second. I just want to bring this up. And here you can definitely taste it to make sure that it's sweet enough for you. If you need to add, that's why sometimes I like to add the eggs last. That's the only thing in here that, but these are plant-based eggs, but still I like to make sure they're cooked. But that's why I usually add the eggs last, so you can taste your mixture just to make sure it has the right amount of spices in there. And then that way you can get it done. I'm just going to let this go for a couple more seconds because I really want to make sure it's good and smooth. And it actually looks really good now. Just going to let it go for a couple more seconds here. And I'm going to pour this into my pan. Don't want to go too high. I'm on 4 on my KitchenAid mixer because if you go higher than that, you're going to splatter. So this is very loose. Okay. I think that's good. And then I'm just going to knock this out. And so what I want to do, because I don't want those stringies in here, and that was stuck on my mixer. So I'm just going to pull those off the top here. Yeah. Could have just left that wrapped around the mixer bowl, the mixer blade. Okay. There we go. So the rest of this is good and smooth. So if you see any of those little stringy fibers, just pull those out. You know how the sweet potatoes has that stringy fiber there. Just pull that out. No one wants to take a bite of that. Okay, next thing we're going to do is just get this in our bowl. Actually in our pie crust. Wipe this up and move this over. Bear with me. Okay. this out of here. Slide this over. Okay. Let me get my spatula in the other hand here. I can try to let you guys see it. I'm just going to get this down in here. Look at that. Hey, hey. Ain't that purty? I say so. Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. With some vanilla ice cream on the side. Y'all know I'm getting all this. I don't want to leave nothing behind. Okay. And then just kind of smooth it out around your pie crust. And this is ready to go in the oven. Again, I have my oven set at 375. It'll cook for about 35 to 40 minutes, but each oven it may vary. So just keep an eye out on it and make sure the center is, you know, firm. Like it just, you know what pie looks like. I can't get the words out of my head right now that I'm trying to say. But that's what it should look like before going into the oven. So sweet potato pie. So I'll let this cook for about 35-40 minutes and I'll be back to let you guys see the end results. All right, family, the sweet potato pie is done. It's not quite cooled off just yet. It's really warm. It's been out of the oven for about 15 minutes now, 20 at the most. But it's still really hot, so can't cut into this, but we're gonna let this chill. But this did cook in my oven for almost an hour. It was 55 minutes that this cooked. And so one thing I will say, the crust did get a little brown around one side of it. I guess the way it was placed in my oven. If you don't want your crust to over brown on the top, you can put some foil around your crust there, but it's not like burnt or anything like that. And on the bottom, I did check it. The bottom of it looks amazing. The sides of it looks amazing because it is a glass dish. And I guess I can bring it up a little bit closer to you guys so you all can see it. So you can kind of see what I'm talking about, how my crust is just a little brown, but it's not burnt. And I'm okay with that. So because we have all the crust on the bottom as well, but it did brown a little bit on one side more than it did the other side. But it actually turned out really amazing. The inside of it is great. Tastes really, really good. I tasted as it came out, the toothpick. The inside of it tastes really good. So that's what it is close up. So I won't be doing a taste test on this one only because it does have to cool and you want a sweet potato pie to be cold. So this is going to definitely go into the refrigerator in about another 45 minutes. I'm going to let it just sit out at room temperature to really cool off, and then I'll place it in the refrigerator and let it just chill, and this will be ready to cut into. So guys, try out the sweet potato pie. If you like it, you know what to do. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. And of course, share the video. Share it with your family and friends. And if you haven't already subscribed, what are you waiting on? Subscribe to Cassandra's Kitchen. I would love to have you follow me out here. And so until next time, I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I hope 2021 brings in just a bunch of joy for you and your families. And I know that if you're still here and you're able to see me in 2020, we are blessed. We are blessed and highly favored of the Lord. So again, we got so much to be grateful and thankful for. So we just got to count our blessings, right? So again, from Cassandra's Kitchen to your, be blessed until next time. I love you. Bye-bye.